Morning, guys. How y'all doing this morning? Hope y'all having an incredible, amazing morning. I'll wake up with days full of happiness and joy, because there's a lot that won't. A whole lot that won't. There's a lot of kids out here in this world missing. A lot of adults too, not just children. A lot of craziness in the world, that's for sure. But one thing's for certain. We can't forget about those who are missing. Especially the ones missing with shady outcomes. Outcomes that don't make sense, lies that don't add up. Truth that feels so far away you can't grab it. That's seems to be a lot of how things are unfolding. February 25th, 2024 was a day like no other, right? In Hendersonville, Tennessee, where Sebastian and Drake Rogers, a 15-year-old teen with autism, special needs, a smile big as his world, started his day talking to his grandma on a FaceTime call while his mother, Katie Proudfoot, Lynn Payne Proudfoot, Lynn Payne Rogers Proudfoot, was making spaghetti pancakes, telling the world to Google it, trying to tell the world every which way to find some kind of proof of where her son had gone, so she could show that she wasn't the one to blame. When all along, all the fingers pointed directly at her and her significant other that was abusing this child in more ways than one, it appears. The father, who was at work at the prison, didn't know what was going on until he checked his phone, right, the following day. But that Sunday was like no other for all of them. Seth wasn't worried about Sebastian. He thought Sebastian was safe with Katie, where he was like every day before that, unless it was his weekends or Christmas break or some other holiday that Sebastian could not wait to go see his father and be gone from that home, that nightmare, that house of horrors. Y'all want to talk about house of horrors? It would be bad to be in a home where you felt like you were the outsider. Anybody ever been there? Where you felt like you were the outsider in your own home? You're scared to be there? I'm sure some of y'all at one point in your life felt that. Scared to be there, right? Scared to be there. But you held that fear and you held that inside because that's where you're home. That's where you lived. That's where you're supposed to be. So that makes it even worse because that means the adults have more power over you. And who knows what that's going to bring, right? Who knows what'll come of that down the road in the future as technology gets better and better and better. And as Little Summer County catches up to today's technology, and maybe makes a decision to hire a little bit better investigator. Someone that might be able to find answers instead of just saying whatever they want to say at the 1.5-year mark. We're not going to get proof of anything on that renewal tip line update from the FBI that they only made one little paragraph in there was theirs. The rest was pretty much Summer County except for the one TBI from Nashville. The only other one that wasn't part of Summer County that gave any information in that statement. because it seems to be that B. Carter was the one that did the majority of 98% of that seemed to be from him. So we just have to go with that. That's what we got for now. Doesn't mean we give up. It just means we don't trust that much more. We don't believe that much more. But eventually you run out of hot air, right? No matter who you are. Eventually you run out of lies and mount up so big that you have no choice but to come out. But, you know, law enforcement, doesn't matter if their back's against the wall. They still don't have to talk. But if it was us, we would, right? We have to explain ourselves, right? We have to justify what research we do. So much so that in this case, it's a really proven point that what we say here on social media, whether it be truth, half-truth, hunches, guesses, or just flat-out lies, and we're no different than they are, right? In that way of trying to figure this case out. But we're not the ones coming out here saying stuff that doesn't make... Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some that say things that don't make sense. There probably is, I'm sure. But when you come out and say something that flat out just makes zero sense and it's not provable in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion. I mean, there's just so much that we don't understand, I guess, or so much we don't get, maybe. I don't know how this works with everybody being... This has become a case that's either you're on law enforcement side or you're on the public side. That's, as we sit here and try to break down these videos and understand them, they just come out at will whenever they feel like it and try to debunk them. But there has to be a reasoning behind what they did. You know, we can't forget, right? We lose track of these things, of the April 2nd warrant, of the emails that mysteriously came to my inbox. Those things aren't just coincidences. They're done for a reason. I'm starting to wonder now, if somebody on the inside sent me that for a reason. I forwarded them over to higher authorities. I mean, that's all you can do at this point. But the thing is we have to understand, is it Summer County against Sebastian Rogers? Or is it just that office against Sebastian Rogers? Or are they really not against Sebastian Rogers at all? And they want the truth just like we do, but they don't know how to handle the pressure, maybe. Maybe the pressure's too much. I kept saying, keep pushing, you'll get something. And I was told we were going to have something by September 8th. Well, they came out. They didn't give us what we wanted, but they gave us something. And in everything they give us, we learned something from it, if not more than one. Right? There's a few things we learned from that crock of, you know what, to me, I don't believe none of it. I believe some of it. I believe the part that now we know that they also are pretty sure and pretty confident that this child disappeared that night, which would be Sunday night, the 25th of February, the day we were just talking about. You know, the spaghetti pancakes day, the talking to grandma when you're not supposed to. Like, why isn't all this being pulled in? You know, if me or you were to do this, well, we would be charged with those things. If me or you had this many complaints against us from DCS, don't you think one of us, somebody would be charged? Yeah, of course we would. So what makes him different? Or is it just a really small town, LE offices, small LE offices, small town, and they just don't have the means? Well, we can't say that because there were so many people involved. This is probably going to be one of the largest searches ever. It's probably the largest search ever in Hendersonville. and the surrounding counties. Maybe not Nashville, but Nashville's huge, right? Raleigh Strand. Well, yeah, but Raleigh Strand was found quickly. Some people will say no. Well, yeah, he was. He was found pretty quickly for being in a river that could have taken him no telling where. Do I still think that he got way down there at the end of that river where they found him on his own? No, I've never thought that. I always felt Raleigh Strand was put in the water somewhere past that second bend. I don't believe no way he would have made it past that bend. But that's just my opinion, and it doesn't really account for anything. But because I'm not law enforcement, I can't go in there and say, hey, we need to look into this, right? It doesn't matter what I say. They all have budgets. They all have meetings. They all have quotas. They all have specs they got to go by. They have things that they do daily. And then when something like this comes into their daily routines, it throws everything off, right? And they run and they scrounge. And they did. They immediately responded. I'm not going to say they didn't respond. I supported them the majority of the time. I still support some of them. There's just some of them that I don't support now because I don't believe them. Because I've done my research. I've talked to so many different people. Hell, I started calling manufacturers of headlights. I caught myself doing that the other day, Friday. Calling different manufacturers of different headlights and fog lights and spotlights and all these things that could have possibly been mounted on a truck. And I was given the same answer almost everywhere. Maybe a little bit different. Maybe 200 feet instead of 150 feet. But we're talking feet, not yards. So, like, what do we do from here? Where do we go from here? Well, we continue to do what we do. We continue to search, we continue to dig, and we continue to still cover this case as well as other cases. I needed a couple of days to relax on Sebastian Rogers because we were out searching for Suzanne Simpson. Y'all know that. But I needed to sit back and really take it in and think, why is this that Seth Rogers has to stand outside a sheriff's office and beg for someone to try to find answers for his missing son? Why does he, we're in a world where that should not have to be. Where's all the trooper Gayharts at? Where are they at? We're the one that stand up, that put the public needs first, because that's their job. Serve and protect, right? Protect. That's a big word when it comes to this case. Protect. I don't think they protected Sebastian Rogers. I think the entire system in Hendersonville, Tennessee, failed this child. And they all turned a blind eye. And I think if we really go back to one of the things that someone said in the beginning of this case, and y'all, a lot of y'all know Dolly Vision, right? He's like my brother. I love Dolly, always. And he motivates me to want to push harder. And some may agree with him, some may not, but it doesn't matter. Opinions vary. But down deep, we have to look at the ones that fight for these children no matter what the cost, right? And I know he doesn't fight for runaways, but he did step up to the plate and search for a runaway the other day. So everybody can change. But something he said early on was that it seems like friendship does evolve, right? Friendship does exist within this somehow system of somehow within the LE side of it all, whether it be sheriff or local PD or whatever, some kind of relationship did exist there. Some kind of friendship, it did exist there. And also, I think it would have been different. And I'm starting to think, yeah, I think that is possible. I think that did happen. I think that somehow, some way, I mean, you can't blame people for having friends. We all want to have friends. But it's when you cross the line. It's when you put your job behind them. When you don't take your job or put a child's needs first. DCS, right? Say that lady is friends with Chris Proudfoot's family. Well, you know what? She has to live with that every day of her life, knowing she did nothing to protect Sebastian Rogers. Nothing. She didn't even tell she didn't even tell Seth Rogers what was going on. That's all she had to do. You know, the thing is about these DCS cases is that they would just tell the significant other, the other parent that doesn't know, change would happen immediately. Most cases. I mean, I guarantee you, any of y'all right now got a phone call from, say, Child Protective Services saying, we know that your son's with his dad on this weekend or with the mom on this weekend, but we got a CPS complaint from a teacher and we're investigating it, and this is what we know, and that's it. End of story. That's all you had to do. If they'd have just given Seth Rogers the common courtesy to let him know about his own son, what was going on in that home over there, we wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. At least not about this case. Because Seth Rogers would have handled it on his own. Because that's what true parents do. It's not about cover up or trying to figure out if if we're going to be able to get away with it this month or not, right? It wouldn't be about that. It would be straight out, cut and dry. That's it. So at least if you're not going to do your job and protect Sebastian in the way that you can with your laws in place, at least give the biological father a shot at protecting Sebastian Rogers, at protecting his own son. The one that he's out here screaming and hollering for, broken every day for, right? All he wants is the truth. Is that too much to ask? All he wants is someone to help. Someone within one of those buildings. You know, I've always wondered, why didn't he go to the police department? Why hasn't he changed his tactic? Why hasn't he started going to the police department and standing outside there begging for answers, seeing if they will step up and help in any way, shape, or form? You know, I thought about that over the weekend. Why can't we push now on the police department maybe there and see if we can't get some help out of them, or go as far as Nashville and start pushing doors, right? Why don't we march the streets of Nashville, FBI headquarters? Right? There's a lot of things you can do. Giving up is not one of them. But I know that things fade in time. I get it. Like I always said, Sebastian's only hope is that someone keeps his case alive. Someone. All it takes is one to keep his case out there. Yeah, it might not be the biggest show and the biggest whatever, but it might not catch the most attention. But it doesn't matter. As long as it catches one attention, it catches attention. So, do we see Seth Rogers shoving a camera in Katie's face? No. We don't see that. And I always wonder, how long was Seth Rogers going to put up with their BS? I thought that on day one. You could just tell something wasn't right. For one, when you see his smile, you realize he's not a runaway. Excuse me. Hiccups again. He's not a runaway. You can tell by looking at Sebastian Rogers, he's not a runaway. His father told us that. His mother told us that in the beginning, although she told the news he was a wanderer, but didn't tell us that. But then her husband, the love of her life, told us that he was not a wanderer. I don't know what to believe with them. I don't believe anything they say, to be honest. I mean, there's just no truth in what they have to say. Because a mother with a child missing would have never left town. Never. What, wild horses couldn't drag me away, right? Isn't that what it is? You wouldn't have got a mother away from her child like that. Never. I don't care if some say she put a blanket on the front porch. That doesn't matter. Sit your ass on the front porch and holler his name. Don't put a damn blanket on the front porch. Get you a damn lawn chair and sit on that front porch. And pray and beg for anyone to help. We didn't see that. None of that. We saw exactly what we saw from Jaden Spicer's mother. Right? That's what we saw. That's what we saw in Katie. We saw Rebecca Haro and Katie, right? We saw that. We saw that, right? The fakeness of it all. The making myself. You know, that's when you wonder, behind closed doors, what are they doing? Before they get in the camera, they poke themselves in the eyeball, they splash water on their face. What are they doing? Because they're not truly crying. Katie Falford's tears aren't tears for missing her son. They're tears because down deep she knows all the lies she's told are stacked up and they're just crushing her every day. It's like a weight just sitting on her every day. And eventually, she'll either be like Candace Wells and hold it in, or it'll come out when least expected. Because I don't know if Bobby Carter, the lead investigator, is ever going to do anything to solve this case. I honestly don't think so. And that's just my opinion, and I'm fine with that. But I just don't believe he will. I mean, you talk about news breaking, right? We should be breaking different news than this. We should be breaking news that he was with his mother last. She had him last. Katie was the last one with Sebastian Rogers when they left the Texas Roadhouse. She's the last one with that child. And evidently there's no sighting past that camera right there. And if somebody can prove otherwise, then do it. But there's not. From what I know, there's not. There's no proof that this child was seen past the Texas Roadhouse, from what I have learned. Now, if there is some, I'd like to see it. I think with the amount of people that broke this case down early on, if there would have been that type of footage, it would be out. Right? And another thing is I wish that the PI hired for Sebastian Rogers by the Prophets would be in Hendersonville, searching and utilizing everything he's got, like he's doing in these other cases right now, right? For Sebastian. Was the $15,000 not enough to find this poor child? Is that what it is? It just wasn't enough money? I mean, we'll pay more. I don't care. Right? I would like to see more people involved. I would like to know what he's making on the Emmanuel Haro case. I bet it's not $15,000. I'm not here to pick on anyone. I'm just saying he has the tools, the expensive tools that could be utilized. And he's over there doing it in these other cases, but he's not doing it in this case. And evidently, this is the case that paid him. The other ones didn't pay him, from what I've been told. And that came from a source next to the Prophet. That he hasn't been paid to do these things. Why, right? Why? Why can he go on Ashley Banfield and talk about Celeste Rivas Hernandez and he's not in contract with family or anything? He's not making any money to do it, but yet he's paid he's paid $15,000 to find Sebastian Rogers. I'm not here trying to be this in a mean way or punish this man. No, that's not why I'm doing this. What I'm saying is I'm trying to show you how people fade and how cases fade. I'm not here to pick on anyone. I don't know the man. He could be a wonderful man. I don't know him. Shout out to him for looking for any missing child. Anybody that searches, that's amazing. Because that means you're doing it from your heart. You're not paid to do it. So yeah. But I think what happened was, I think he realizes, if you were to ask him straight out, I guarantee you he'd say, I realized I got in with the wrong people. I pretty much would agree. I think a lot of us would agree that he would say that he got in with the wrong people. Why not choose Seth? Why didn't he choose Seth? Why didn't he choose Seth Rogers, the one that was out there fighting for this child? Why did he go for the ones that were hiding the truth? You know what? That man knows an awful lot that we don't know. And he'll probably never say it, but I'm telling you right now, he knows things that we don't know, because he spoke to Chris and Katie personally more than once. He did a lot with them. He knows way more. He knows. He'd probably never say it. Although he said if he ever found anything, he would call law enforcement, but we don't know if he would do that or not. I mean, we really don't. I mean, I think the Lord Lodge put him on, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of called him out on a lot of things with Sebastian Rogers. But it seemed like he was taking their side. I get it. They paid him. Follow the money, right? Some people have to have money to live. Everybody has to have money to live, but some people need more money than others. He's got a lot of equipment. It costs a lot of money, but he does free cases and then he does paid cases. And we know he does free cases because we know Emmanuel Harlow, that family, they didn't pay him a dime. And Celeste Rivas, I don't believe the family paid him a dime either. But tow records, all those public records, everybody else had those. He wasn't the first one to have those on the Celeste Rivas case. There was other people that were just scared to put them out because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't want to put something out that, some people don't like to put it out right away. But there's so many tools available out there. You just have to find them. And I will say, oh, wow, that's a pretty cloud. It's like it's probably from a jet or something. How far does it go? Oh, yeah, that's some kind of jet probably. Yeah, that's pretty. Where do we go from here, right? Because we've seen PIs come and go, Chloe and all them, the ones that did it from their heart, the ones that I think would have probably figured something out, yet they would have been given enough time. And I think they do know a lot more that they can't say, and that's okay. Eventually, hopefully, it'll all come out once arrests are made. I'm not giving up on this case. I think something will happen. I think somebody will be charged. I think now whether Sebastian will ever be found, I don't know. I have faith, but I can't say for sure. We don't know that. But we know that he didn't disappear on his own. We know he didn't run off on his own because there wasn't one camera to pick him up. There wasn't nothing. He didn't, And there's just so many little things. It's just the little lies that add up too, right? The cell phone. I know that's a small one, but it's still a lie. Katie said it was on the counter in the kitchen. Detective Brandon Carter said in his most recent statement that it was on the dining room table with his money where Sebastian had left it the day before. So you're saying he did not use his phone not one time all of Sunday? Does that mean that his phone was never used on Sunday? Is that what that means? That means that when he called his dad that Thursday before that weekend even started, it's the last time that kid used his phone? That's 15 years of age? I don't believe that. Because I'm pretty sure he probably had some games that were stored on his phone that weren't online that he could play. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he's one that did leave his cell phone laying around. I don't know. But I would like to know that question. Was that cell phone used at all on Sunday? That's another one that would be nice to know. Because then that would go with what Detective Carter said. Either it would be accurate or it wouldn't be accurate. Because if that phone sat there all day Sunday and wasn't moved, then that means Sebastian didn't use his phone not one time. He didn't have his phone at the restaurant. I know that. You could tell you didn't see it sitting on the table, unless he had it in his pocket. But I mean, I don't know about BJ's. I don't know about those other places. Did he have his phone? Did he not? I don't know. I don't know if this was a child that carried his phone around. I know that he spoke to evidently Katie's mom that morning, she said, while they were making spaghetti pancakes. But I don't know if that was on Katie's phone or his phone. Or if it was on a burner phone or one of the other phones. I don't know. They have so many different lines and IP lines and things that you never know what phone they used. There's just so much to this case that makes zero sense. I mean, honestly, makes zero sense. I mean, from magic headlights on a hill shining through brick homes like Superman's X-ray eyes to so many other things that how do you determine what's true and what's not true? How do you it's kind of like the CPS things as well. Like, that's big deals to me because that puts it in the 5%, right? Like these other cases. Summer Wells, not found, right? Jaden Spicer, thank God, was found. He was in a location that If it wouldn't have been for someone living right there across that street, to get suspicious when they smelled that odor, like, that child might have never been found. Like, might have never been found. But he was. So what makes his case different than Sebastian's? It's the people who did it. It's the investigator on the case. It's that trooper, Gayhart. That's the one that solved that case. Because he didn't stop. He acted quick, fast, and in a hurry. And he did not give up. Because his hunch turned out to be right, evidently. Because if you ask him, he's going to tell you, yeah, I felt like she knew more. And then they just kept pursuing it. And then when you don't give up on that, you get the answers. Well, the thing is, though, when they lawyer up, you lose that. And that's what happened here. But usually it's only the guilty that lawyer up. Especially when it comes. You didn't see Gabby Petito's parents saying, give me a lawyer. You didn't see Riley Strand's mom and parents saying, give me a lawyer. Right? We didn't see that in those cases. Nope, we sure didn't. Why? Because everything was the truth. I mean, if you're not lying, you got nothing to hide. You don't need a lawyer. It's only when you lie you need a lawyer. I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, she lawyered up when the pressure came down, but they lawyered up right when the landfill search was over. That's when the heat really began, because can you imagine? Look what Ken told us, right? The lead guy running the search parties and the search groups, right? What did he say? I'm disappointed in the outcome of this landfill search. We were hoping for closure and answers for the family and the loved ones of this child. So you can imagine, if he said that to us, what they said to her. That's when the pressure really came. Because evidently that's where they thought this child was. You're not going to convince me that they didn't. He wouldn't have said it like that. He's not just going to say that. Nobody's just going to say that. They'd be like me saying, well, yeah, I'm looking for your child, but, you know, I'm disappointed in the search of the outcome of the landfill search we searched in. I'm sorry we couldn't get answers and closure. Like, you'd be like, why do you think my kid's in a landfill? Right? Why did they think Sebastian was in a landfill? That's what I want to know. Because that's not a thought of hope or faith. That takes that's a different approach. When you think a child is in a landfill. That's a tough one. A really big tough one, guys. You know, as we wonder what's ever going to happen in this case, right? Because that's what all of us think. And a lot of us, we have moved on. A lot of people still aren't connected to this case anymore, and that's okay. Some people basically go off of what's new, right? What's hot, what's in the top. But we could do that too. But then you forget about these other ones, and that's one of the reasons why I don't care if we lose 100 people. If I lose 100 people, but I stay true to what I believe, that's all that matters. Because I'm not here for clicks and views. I'm not. Y'all know that by now. The funny thing is I could probably tell all y'all, hey, in this video, I want to get it to, 200 likes. I bet y'all would do it. See, and that's the thing. I don't need to ask y'all that. We don't need to. We're trying to educate ourselves on a missing child with special needs, not a give me a thumbs up, right? It's not about that. It's about finding this child, or at least trying to find some kind of answers, some kind of truth, like make somebody be held accountable. Somebody be held accountable for something that happened in this child's life, whether it be the abuse, the belts, the whatever, right? Like I said in yesterday's video, that section, what is it, 107 or whatever, that law should have protected Sebastian Rogers in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Why does Hendersonville not follow their own laws? Why don't they follow their own rules and regulations? I don't understand that, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe just because I'm not from there, I guess. You know, I'm from Texas, and we do things differently. I follow my laws, right? We follow our laws. The only thing about Texas, though, is a lot of these searches, they don't want you to have cameras. You go to these other states, they don't really care. But Texas, they don't want cameras. They have learned to to keep the cameras away. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they don't want something to get leaked or they don't want something to be found and then not be able to protect it. But, I mean, it's smart. It is. A lot of people in Texas don't like cameras. I don't know why that is. Like, even people on the sidewalk sometimes when I'm doing a video and we're in an area and we're, you know, going from one area to the next or whatever we may be doing, and I'm doing a video while I'm walking, they're always like, look at me odd. Like, why are you doing that, right? And I get it. Sometimes everybody has their own opinions of things, but you go to some of these states and heck, you can't even film in public, I think, in a few of them. Like, everybody has their different, you know, laws, but Tennessee, it seemed like some people were running around filming and some people weren't, but I would still like to see, okay, anybody that, like any locals that could have been at BJ's that day or Costco's that day that might have just been either playing with their kids, filming a video, or their kids were taking photos. You know, I wish people would go back and look at all those things and try to decide if they found something, right? If they found something. That's what I would like to know. Like, have they gone and done it? Because, you know, sometimes it's the craziest way to crack this. Look at the Celeste Rivers case. Just because certain people were doing things or filming a video in their living room while they were watching a live on and they caught it, right? The picture of this girl with David. And then it's little things like that sometimes that catch something that's so important. I mean, I would still like to know if Katie really did grab him by the arm up like that in the parking lot. I would like to know if she was punishing this child in the parking lot of BJ's by a white van. That's what I was told happened. I don't know if, I've never seen any proof of it, but I was told this a long time ago. I don't even know if I think I've brought it up once before, but supposedly she grabbed him by the arm and jerked him over towards her. And I don't know, maybe he had ran in front of a car. I don't know if there's reasoning behind it. That's why I never really said much about it. And then it was kind of like she popped him on the back of his head. Not hard, but like enough to say, hey, straighten up kind of thing, you know? But for one, you don't hit a child in the head, especially not a child in his situation. But I've always wondered, did that happen? You know, and then we learned so much more, of course, about her that, you know, she was allowing Chris to do what he was doing to her son. So evidently she didn't care about Sebastian either. I mean, she hasn't showed us that she cared about Sebastian. She hasn't been a mother that showed us that she cared, right? What about Kayron, the little boy? We did a video a while back. Remember, FBI now is getting all the new information, digital ties and all that. I think they're going to solve that case. And I'm probably going to come down to stepmama or something. Who knows telling. But why not? Why is Katie not doing that? Why is she not acting like that mother? Why didn't she act like Riley Sharon's mom or Gabby Petito's mom or some of these other ones? Like, hey, at least Rebecca Harlow tried to cry. Katie didn't do that. And some will say, well, yeah, she's for the... No. When it comes to your children, there's no toughness. Only weakness. When it comes to your kids' well-beings. Like, there would be... I don't see how a mother would not be screaming bloody murder if her child had just walked off in the middle of the night. She didn't look like a mom that was... Her child had walked off in the night, because she would have came on the first day. She would have been begging for every camera. And it's people they know. Remember, they know the news lady, the dark-headed one that always seems to do the easy, soft ones for them. It's because they're friends of the family. That's why they choose her. That's for people that didn't know. They're friends. They live like in the same damn area. And she never overstepped. She never gave them the hard questions or asked them the hard questions, I must say. She never put them on the spot. She just let them be them and then helped them, coach them to make them look like they were good-hearted people even though they weren't. She tried. Well, I know there's hope in there somewhere alive, right? Like, she tried. She shouldn't have had to do that. If she'd have just done a raw interview, can y'all imagine if she'd have just done straight-out raw interview, not said anything to them, how they would have looked? 1,000 times worse than what they looked. They only looked half as good as they looked is because she coached them through it all. Just like Chronicles of Olivia, she coached them too. But I bet you if you were to ask Chronicles of Olivia today how she feels about it, I bet she'd give a different answer. Right? I'm so glad, I'm so happy for her and her future husband, Kaylee's brother. And I did reach out to them on the first time they posted their stuff. It's been a while ago, but I did reach out to her first because I've always felt like her interview made a difference in the Sebastian Rogers case. It shed the light. It showed us the truth behind the lies, right? And I always felt like, shout out to her for doing that interview, right? She just did one on the Ginseng brothers, which we've talked about them before, but I haven't really covered them on a case. But we have searched there before. When we had been up that way, we had searched that area. That's some creepy stuff over there. That's a different way of searching. That's some backwoods, hillbilly, broke-back mountain deliverance shit over there. Them people don't want you in their woods over there. So shout out to her for going in them woods and looking for what a ginseng plant looks like. She's brave. But Kaylee's brother, I'm glad he found her. I'm glad they found each other, right? And now they're building their whole life together. It's coming quicker than they probably wanted it to, but it's coming. And I wish them nothing but the best and happiness always. Because she's still going to cover cases, and who knows, maybe he's going to get into true crime. What a better person, right, with a big heart like Kaylee's brother to get into true crime. Can you imagine if he got into true crime and started his own channel out of what he's been through in life? Yeah, he'd make a hell of a true crimer, for sure. But the pain would probably be too much to remind him every day, but he would be good at it. And I know he likes to fish, just like Sebastian Rogers. That's why I was thinking about them, because he loves to fish. Kaylee's family, they love to fish. They love to camp, they love to hunt, they like it. That's how we grew up, that's how they grew up. They raise their kids the same way I was raised, pretty much, with the outdoors being a big part of life. And they're just good people all around. I've always said, Superman, Kaylee's dad, is an amazing man. He raised an amazing family. And a monster took his daughter too soon. And it may have broke his heart, but it didn't break him. And he never quit fighting. And Brian would have got it punished to the full if they would have allowed him to be a part of the war, right? He tried. He built his own team. He did his own research. He got out there and talked to people. That's what it's about. He'd make another good true crimer, right? Kaylee's dad, oh my gosh, everybody watch him too. Because he has a lot of connections in the world to help him. And that's what it takes, is building that connection. And the reason I say that is not to change the subject. It's to say that there's certain things that people love to do. We know Sebastian loved to fish, right? That's what his dad says. He loved to go fishing. And if we believe Katie in anything she said, he loved the water. He swims like a fish, but I don't see him swimming. I see him sitting on a big pink flamingo. But yeah, maybe he did like to swim like a fish. But could he really swim like a fish? I don't know why she would bring up water. It's the same as Jack and Lily's case. Why did Daniel bring up water? Why are they bringing up water? Are we missing something here? And that's been, this weekend, that's what I've been doing. While we were searching for Suzanne Simpson, I was thinking, do you people think this could have something to do with water? This case? Is that what it is? That it has something to do with water? In some way? In some odd way, maybe? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. There was a lot of people, I think, that brought that up in the beginning about water. Why bring up water? Because we know Daniel brought up water in Jack and Lily's case. So a lot of people think that those kids are in that lake where he goes fishing. And I wouldn't doubt it. Which I got to do that video on Jack and Lily. I got all those pages of stuff I need to go over. But it has Malaya as a suspect in the new paperwork I got. Did y'all know that? I didn't know that. It had Malaya Brooks Murray as one that they suspected or were looking at. Or I don't know. I have to read them. It was probably 12 different pages. I just haven't read them yet because we were gone all weekend back and forth. So we weren't really around to break down everything. And so I just, this case, the Jack and Lily case, like, there are a lot of comments. Summer Wells, a lot of comments. Like, when Child Protective Services, whatever they may be called, from DCS to CPS to whatever it may be, when they're involved, it's not always a bad thing, but it is whenever teachers and principals and counselors are the ones calling for a child, right? We learned a lot. We learned that Jack and Lily, it had been reported that it seemed like their clothes had not been washed in over a month. They stunk so bad going to school like that with black and blues and bruises. And I understand kids will get bruises. Hey, every parent's worst nightmare. Believe me, when my daughters first started playing volleyball and they'd fall down across somebody's tennis shoe and they'd get a little bruise on their arm, I would be freaking out. I'd be like, oh my God, what happened, And of course, volleyball, Dad. But you still freak out as a parent because you know what people will think. You know what people's reactions will be. And I always wondered that because just the same as I always wondered why Chris Prophet was wearing long sleeve shirts so much in the very beginning, in the first 7 days. Why he wore a long sleeve shirt almost every day in the first 7 days. Why? There's those scratch marks, right? Which a lot of people don't talk about anymore. And those bite marks. Those are tooth marks. And who was that dentist? There was somebody that a dentist or somebody, I'm trying to remember who that was, but I remember somebody bringing it up to me that a dentist overlaid or something and that from a photo, which I know that's not exactly accurate because you need the mold of his teeth to really be able to overlay like that. But you can take it off of a photo, give you a rough idea. But supposedly a dentist or somebody that works for teeth, hygienist or something like that told someone, I think on a live or something somewhere, this is what I saw in the comments, and it's been a while back, but that it did match. Is there any way that we could figure that out somehow? Can somebody email me that photo of those bite marks, the clear photo? There's only one that I've seen out there that's cleared. I don't know who has it. But evidently there's one photo that's pretty clear. I wonder if it's Smiley's well. I can reach out to her. I communicate with her. I don't know if she has it or not. Oh my gosh, guys, look at these clouds. Looks like popcorn balls. What that jet line that went right through the middle of it. Y'all see those popcorn balls up there? Wow, that's pretty clouds right there. It's like ripples, looks like a beachy sand on the outer edges, and then you get in the middle, looks like little popcorn balls or little cotton balls thrown on the floor. Or like my daughter they have all these like fingernail polish basket things. That's what it looks like. Could be too, like a bunch of those little cotton balls in a basket. It's just, the winter's approaching us. That's what it is. The weather's changing. We're getting these beautiful clouds. I don't know if any of y'all do that, but I like to just look at the clouds sometimes. Lay a blanket down, lay down, take 10 minutes, and just stare at the clouds. And just watch them move. They move just like the clock. They don't stop, right? Time does not stand still. Although sometimes it might feel like it does. Which it should feel like it does to Katie Prophet. Because time should stand still until you find Sebastian. Because you told us you were going to find him and you were going to bring him home. So where is he? I mean, that's your words. At the 1 year anniversary, you were going to find him and you were going to bring him home. So I'd like to know where he is. Because I don't think he's popped out of wherever he is yet. I don't know. It's just so hard to understand that how they are, right? Like, I'm starting to read how law enforcement is, like, in these different cases, like, comparing with their first statement. Like, what I've been doing, another thing I've been doing, I'll tell you. I don't want to tell you all my secrets, but I'll tell you this one. I've been taking, like, the Jaden Spicer case, Emmanuel Haro, who else did I do? Lamb King. We did Summer Wells. We did Sebastian, K-Ron. We took about all of the first statements made by law enforcement of their opinions on all the first of these cases. And a lot of them in similarities. It was like, we're not ruling out foul play, we're not, but then you just, I don't know, it's just so weird how almost all of them kind of say the same things other than the Jaden Spicer case. That's the only case that stood out to me with Jaden's case. It stood out to me. And you know, and the coffin, of course, was built by a buddy of mine that lives right down the road from me. You know, Trey Gannon. He started out as a mechanic. His daughter is also a mechanic, and they build hot rods and build cars. And I've known him. He used to be a taxidermist. I've known him since I was probably in high school. He's one of my oldest, my sister's age. So I always knew him, always. And he's a good man. He also did the Uvalde schools. Between him, Matthew McConaughey, and them all got together, and then he did all the coffins for those children in the Uvalde school thing, trigger warning. And to listen to, like, the troopers talking, I think maybe it's a difference between highway departments and, like, law enforcement and police and sheriffs. Because, you know, here in Texas, we also have the Department of Transportation, which is Department of Public Safety, which is DPS. They're troopers, state troopers that run the highways, just like in Kentucky, just like in Florida and everywhere else, right? They have their sets of troopers. They seem to take cases way differently. Like, they seem to look at everything as, you're guilty till I prove you're innocent type stuff, which is a shocker to me, because that's kind of how we all felt, I think, about Jaden Spicer, right? My first video I did, I said it wasn't going to end well. I knew it would be bad, but I didn't think, I knew because I had already heard about the grandmother, and a lot of people hadn't yet, but I was told not to say nothing yet. So I'd already heard about him only being there for a short time. And so I knew, okay, there's going to be one or two things. Either he was going to have run trying to get back to wherever grandma was, but then I thought, you know, he's old enough to know she's not coming back. And then when you see that picture of Jaden Spicer with those dark circles and that pale skin, and you think, oh my God, this poor child never had a fighting chance. He didn't. He never had a fighting chance. Never. But you know what's different about it is, you look at Sebastian Rogers' photos, but you got to remember, those photos were selected for a reason. Katie chose all those photos for a purpose, okay? She didn't have us looking for a teenager that was growing a mustache. She had us looking for a child that looked like he was 10 or 11. That's a difference. But when you go into his older pictures, and you look at the one where he's holding the shoes, to me, he just didn't look like he was a happy kid. Like all the way around the board happy. That's why you know what I would like to see? This is what I would like to see. And I know a lot of y'all are in Seth's chat room too. And I know Seth doesn't communicate with a lot of people. I get that. And that's fine. He's entitled to whatever he wants. It's his son. But I would like to see if he had a photo, maybe of Sebastian, like at that gaming place with him, like somewhere where he was with Dad, right? And I want to compare photos of Sebastian at home with Katie and then photos with Seth to see the difference. Because, you know, what he told his father about not wanting to go back to that house, that scares me. And that would scare any parent. And I'm sure that's probably the quote right now that's giving Seth nightmares every day of his life. Because now he's wishing he would have said something. But it's so hard as parents when you've been through what he's been through. Like, think, Katie had him threatened from day one. When she filed all that stuff against him and kicked him out and had to live in his... She just put that man through hell to turn around and praise him. That's what never made sense. He's Sebastian's biggest supporter. He's his cheerleader. He's always in the front row, right? That's what we wanted to hear from you, Katie. Why are you saying set this? Why weren't you? Why weren't you in that front row? Why weren't you his biggest supporter? How dare you say that? The father that only saw him every other weekend and on holidays or whatever, which I think it was more than that anyway. I think that anytime Sebastian wanted to go, if it was free, I think they let him go. But because that was more time with Chris for her, right? That's where she wanted to be, was with Chris, no matter what. And so, why wasn't she the one? Why didn't she say, well, I was his biggest fan, and then of course his dad was the second biggest fan? You know what I mean? Like, she didn't ever apply herself in any of those good comments. Why? And then she talked about this kid could run laps and laps around, and they kept marking his shirt and marking his back. Oh, when I talked to the teacher got back to me about the poster boards. They said they would do it, but they would have to do it. Now, I could donate them and send them in. So I think what I'm going to get one of the guys to do, or one of the team members to do, is to order a box of them online, and then maybe a big thing of markers and ship them to them so they can make those posters for him for December, for his birthday. Do y'all want to do that? I think that'd be a good idea. I want them to put them all over the school. Rejuvenate this case. If that's what I have to do, then that's what we'll do. If that's what it takes. Seth Rogers needs all the help he can get right now. And I know you might not be on his side, some of y'all. But it won't take much. Just a little refresher of the case, and I think you'll be on his side. You know, I'm not saying that he's perfect. He's never said that. He's never said anything about himself. He doesn't care what people say about him, and that's what true parents are looking for their children. They don't give a damn what you say. I wouldn't care what y'all said about me. Y'all could say I was Charles Manson, I wouldn't care. It's not about that. When you're in a situation like he is, it's about finding your child at all costs, no matter what you got to do. Right? And then you wonder, wow, why can't we be like the movies, right? Why can't the dad go be the hero? Why can't he go rattle them and shake them until they tell him the truth? Why? Yeah, because that's the movies, right? It makes you wonder why. Like, what I would like to see, honestly, would be what they said in the beginning. I would like to see Katie and Chris sit down with Nancy Grace one more time. I bet all y'all are saying, hell yeah, right now, right? The Queen, yeah, exactly. I would like them to go on her show one more time, because she doesn't avoid the hard questions. She don't give a damn. She wants to know. And I don't know if she'd put them on there, but after they lied to her, like the Chris lied to her, Baldface lied to her on national television like that, he's got to live with that. I mean, he knows the world has done made their mind up about him, the majority of it. He might have a few friends left, but it'll only get worse as time goes on. But they sure do look like they aged 5 years in a year. I can tell you that right now. Katie does for sure. Oh boy, Katie looks like she's already in her 50s. I mean, pretty soon it's going to be 60s and 70s is what it's going to look like. Man, Chris going to be chasing him a new younger one down. Katie's going to be all alone. All alone. Like the way she started life, all alone. I'm not saying she had the best family, no. Looks like she had a bad upbringing. Looks like she had a bad childhood. She got a monster for a mother. She got a stepdaddy that married his own daughter. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I don't mean to laugh at that. It's just I could not help it, just the way it came out. Because we were talking about deliverance and all that earlier, I guess, maybe. But, God, like, I don't understand these people. I really don't. Like, and then, you know, it seemed like when we started talking about Katie's mom, man, they were like, Chris came to the rescue. And then if you talk about his mama, the worst monster of all, I think Chris's mama is worse than Katie's mama. She just never been caught. That's all. I mean, yeah, she is something else. Chris' mama is something else. She is a monster of all monsters. That woman, her middle name is evil. Her first name's the devil. I mean, that's just how it works, but in my opinion. But these are all my opinions. Y'all know that. Allegedly, these are all. Take them with a grain of salt, right? That's what we have to say out here on these streets. But are we ever going to learn anything that's going to lead to any kind of truth at all? Are we going to continue to hear the same things over and over and over again? I don't know that, but we got a secret mission, and y'all don't know when we're done with it, but we are gonna sit down with a few people and see what we can figure out. But anybody else have any areas there that your hunch is, right? That's what I want. I want your pure raw hunch of any areas to search there. We've searched all around that lake, all around, there's one area that we have not completely searched, and that's that area to, what would it be? The left of the high school. Okay, if you go across from the high school and go down that road, you come down to that, like there's a dam or whatever back in there. I think it goes into maybe Drake's Creek or something like that, or whatever it is, something in that area. There's like you can drive over it on the road. It's like a little bridge that goes over it. Like that's an area that we have not done. We did to where that car was that what's his name sent us to. Silver's on the scene. Remember, he sent us to that white car. He sent me the emails and the maps. We went to that white. He sent me 3 locations. We checked all those locations, and we swept them thoroughly with drones and dogs. So that area we know is clear. But now to the right of that more, we did the horseshoe across from that little water source where it looks like an old gravel yard or something over in that area. We did that area. We droned that because we couldn't get permission. They wouldn't give us permission to go on the property because of the commercial insurance and all that they said, liability. So we were able to drone it. And he said, I don't care if you fly an inch off the ground. You can drone it all you want. He just didn't want people, because of their insurance, walking around there. So we did drone that whole thing. I showed y'all some of those pictures. That's where, like, that little water was. It was pretty shallow in some areas, about 3 or 4 feet. You could see straight to the bottom. It was crystal clear. Like Chris always says, crystal clear. But there's got to be some other areas. And I mean, I know there's some areas that we cannot search at all because, of course, Kathy, the Bowersoxes, they're not going to let us search none of their property. We did search behind their home in those trees in that real thick forested area behind their house. We did drone that, but we need to wait till winter because once the leaves are gone, it'll be a lot easier to drone. Some of the areas that we couldn't get before, we can get now. When people say, well, what if you see something that's covered in leaves? Well, when we lower the drone down to it and we punch it and we get those little blades to blow those leaves out of the way. That's another trick. I don't know if other drone operators use that trick, but we do. Like if we see something like a part of something and it's white or it looks like it could be a dried bone of any kind, whether it's, it doesn't matter. We'll fly that drone right down low over it and turn those, like punch it, and it, like give it all the gas. And those little blades, they blow all those leaves out of the way so you can see what you're looking for. We've learned little tricks along the way to help us. When you're a mile out there, you're walking that far through that, it could take you forever. If you see something, you got to try to utilize what you got. Now, of course, if you end up doing like I did, because I'm not that good with the drone flying yet. Of course, I got hung up in a tree, but trying to go up too fast, I had to walk in there and go get the drone. But needless to say, the other operators are pretty dang good, and they're pretty good at using those drones as a blower if they need to. And now we got them rigged up with. We took those old racing drones that I had and put little cameras on them, like GoPro, and flashlights and little different lights and things like that, so we could utilize them in different ways. Hell, we've even used drones to take walkie-talkies. Like when I forgot my walkie-talkie before, they'll tie it on and fly it over, and I'll get it off the drone. Like you gotta have teamwork. So yeah, once we get to another month and all the leaves start dropping completely in Hendersonville, like I mean completely, there's still a lot of leaves left yet, but once they all drop here in the next month and a half, whatever it may be, then we can really get to some of those other areas, because we want to redo the entire area around the property. Like basically what we want to do is the 1 mile. Okay, from Sebastian's house, go 1 mile in a circle. 1 mile all the way out, and then go in a complete circle. I mean, I don't believe he's that close to home, but after seeing those caves last time we were up there, now having an understanding, some of those caves, my God, guys, they go like, you don't ever hear the rock hit the bottom when you drop it in. And it's like, there's a lot of them. Not saying that he would be in there. The only way he'd be in there is if they put him in there. Which I always said, is Chris going to end up being the hero in this? They're just waiting for it to die down, and then they're going to somehow start searching and find this child? Is that their plan? I tried to put a tamper in that if that was their plan a while back when I did the video on it. What are they going to do when they hire that PI? They're going to be the next one to find this kid in the construction site and say, look, he's been there all along. Well, you'd be the only one that knew he was there, which would tell us one thing. Yeah, I put him there. Like, I don't know. I don't know. There's been so many bodies. You know what we can't get to? We can't get positive IDs on a lot of these people that are these remains that are being found under the bridge, and there's still nothing yet. And I know sometimes it takes months, and they might not ever identify the person. I get it. That can happen too. But with technology being so much better now, they create these trees really quickly now. I mean, look how quick they caught Brian Coburn, right? Genealogy tree. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get answers. And we're going to keep fighting for Sebastian Route, just for all the missing, all the runaways. They all need us. So while we do that, I'll give y'all one more shot of this beautiful. Y'all see them clouds? Oh my gosh. It's like popcorn. Popcorn. Not me. The clouds are pretty. Not me. I'm not pretty. The clouds are pretty. All right, guys. Well, me and Ruby, I'm so glad y'all are here, fam. And the ones that want to roll out, let them roll out. That makes our hearts stronger here, right? It's still always been the same 300 or 400. Well, it used to be 300 or 400. Now it's like 100 of y'all. That kind of are here to stay, which is amazing. I appreciate every one of y'all, right? I thought about it. We're going to do I'm going to call today and get a hold of that lady from the YouTube thing and talk to her about turning everything back on, but like just the ads and stuff. I don't really want to do the other stuff, but I don't know. I got to see, because you got to, by law, do something in order to, if you're going to turn it all on to matches, you have to have like a fee, which I don't know. I was thinking like $99.99, something like that. I don't know. It was set up before for me. It wasn't me that got to set it up. It came that way when I was monetized. So I don't know what happened. Maybe whoever was helping and set it up, I don't know. But I need to go in there and really figure it out, and see how we can do it. But we'll work on it. It's all we can do. So with that said, guys, keep all of them in your prayers and thoughts, right? Trigger warnings always, times 100 million. Lost comments, of course, for y'all's and y'all's alone, not to reflect the channel. We do research together. We got big hearts. Also, there was something else I wanted to say before, and now I done lost the train of thought, but I think it was about the school, I think. I can't remember. I'll remember it later when I least expect to remember it. And that means it'll be on another video. But anyway, yeah, guys, have a good one. Be safe. Keep the prayers up for all these missing and runaways. They need us. Sebastian Rock, he needs everyone's help too. Not give up. We're going to put a rally together slowly for December. I think we want to be a part of that now. And if any of y'all want to be a part of it, that'd be great too. So from all y'all here in America to across the pond, we love y'all guys. And remember, everyone's innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Y'all know that. Allegedly,
It's my free speech. I'm entitled to it. But also my alleged opinion I'm entitled to. But take that as a grain of salt, guys. We talk soon. We love y'all. Have a good one. Prayers, prayers, prayers always. Trigger warnings always. All right, guys. Bye.